You're closer to your dreams than you think you are. You got to remember that. He said, right, scripture we always bring up, right, where there's no vision, people perish. Again, a lot of times people lack vision. That's really the issue. They lack vision. But like Ed said, a lot of times we lack depth perception, how far out that is. One day we pushed our dreams all the way out. One day, yeah, no. What if it's right around the corner? What if you were, like he said, one decision, one different emotion, one different choice, one different relationship, one different conversation away from you being at your dreams very soon? Do you put yourself in that position? How much are you feeding yourself your dreams, your God-sized dreams? How much are you feeding it to yourself? It's not the chapter that we're gonna read today, but one of the chapters in 177 mental toughness secrets is right. The world class knows how to feed their vision and starve their fear. Right? They feed their vision and they starve their fear. Well, this is what Ed's talking about. By the way, if you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, highly recommend it. What are you reading on your personal development journey? I know I'm here to give you some nuggets here and there, drop a little seed, plant a little seeds here and there for an hour and a half in the week. But what are you doing personally? Have you read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? It's a great place to start. Great place to start. I was just talking to somebody on my podcast, or the show that I'm doing now, and he mentioned that book. There's so much wisdom in the book. The stuff that we talk about that he talks about in there is getting to any level of success, like just like we talk about it. Just like we talk about successes in all areas. It's not just financial success. It's success in your health, success in your relationship, success in your spiritual life, like all the things. And so those fears that Napoleon Hill outlines that Ed just talked about, we really have to pay attention to. The first step to change is awareness. The first step to change is awareness. So are you aware? Are you aware of these fears? Are you aware of if you hold on to any of these fears? What were the six? Fear of poverty, fear of ill health, fear of criticism, fear of loss of love, fear of old age, and fear of death. Which ones are running your life? Which ones are you operating out of? Have you identified them? Because most of us, myself included, most of us have some deep rooted fear that we are trying to run away from, get away from. A lot of people have that fear of poverty. A lot of people have the fear of poverty, whether you've been there or not. It's a fear of yours. And we do everything to run away from it. We put ourselves in bad financial positions to try to run away from it. We stay at the job too long to try to run away from it. Those are things that we actively do because we have this fear of poverty, fear of ill health, fear of getting sick. You've seen a lot of sickness around your life. You've had to deal with a lot of it. Maybe that's a deep seated fear that causes you to act in a certain way. You would hope that it causes you to do the right things, but that's not always how our brain works. Fear of criticism holds people back all the time, y'all. I help people over and over again try to get to the life that they want. And you know what holds them back? What someone is going to say about them, what their family member will say, what their child will say, what their parent will say. That holds them back. The fear of the public. We're in a social media age. And you know, one of the best ways to jumpstart your dreams, if you have an entrepreneurial dream, is to put your thoughts into the world. Put yourself into the world. Be vulnerable a bit with the world. People are fearful of that because of Sally Pants 219 on TikTok saying, "You're ugly, you're fat, you're stupid," like whatever. They fear that. So it holds them back from going after their dreams. Loss of love is a big one. The reason why we do a lot of things, pay money we shouldn't, right? Be around people because we feel like we're going to lose their love, lose their affection. These are real fears. These are real fears that people hold on to. The question is, are you holding on to any of these? Your mind moves towards what you're most familiar with. So if you have an emotional home, if you have things that you are most familiar with in this realm of fear, it's probably why you get more of it. It's probably why it shows up more in your life. It's probably why you keep experiencing similar things, is because we haven't gotten to the root. We haven't gotten to the root. So for today, some encouragement for you is maybe it's time to get to the root. Maybe it's time to get to the root. You got to ask yourself better questions. Tony Robbins says it this way. He says the quality of your life comes down to the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. The quality of your life will come down to the quality of the questions you ask yourself. So just like Ed said, maybe we have to ask ourselves better questions. Maybe we have to think about some things differently. Maybe we have to allow our God-sized dreams to move us towards what we want instead of thinking about the fears that are holding us back, the challenges, the adversities that hold us back from what we think we want to get to or the person that we want to become. In the book 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class, this one deals a bit with what we're talking about. It says the great ones evolve from fear to love-based motivation. What motivates you? What pushes you? Is it the fearful side, the fear, the getting away from poverty, the getting away from the criticisms or the loss of love? Like, does that drive us? Or are we based and rooted in love? And that allows us to be abundant about some things and think about things differently. Here's what it says in here. It says middle-class performers are mediocre because they have failed to identify the emotional motivators that burn from within. Upper-class performers are full of emotional fire that usually is fueled by the fear of failure. While fear can be a tremendous motivator, it creates a lot of pain and suffering in the process. Operating out of fear and scarcity-based consciousness is playing a not-to-lose strategy. And through the law of attraction, acts as a magnet for additional thoughts of fear and scarcity to enter the performer's mind. Say that one again, because that's exactly what Ed was just saying. Operating out of a fear and scarcity-based consciousness is playing a not-to-lose strategy. And through the law of attraction, acts as a magnet for additional thoughts of fear and scarcity to enter into the performer's mind. These thoughts eventually manifest more fear and scarcity on the physical plane. The upper class includes some of the most successful people in the world who are some of the saddest. The fear that propels them to achieve is the same emotion that robs them of their fulfillment. The upper class consciousness is rooted in ego, where the pain of losing is stronger than the pleasure of winning. Because of this fear, this thought process attracts. The upper class tends to suffer much more than the world class. As soon as they succeed at whatever they're attempting, they're on to the next conquest, and the victories must get bigger for them to sustain their ego-based gratification. The world class transcends this lower vibration by focusing their thoughts, language, and mental pictures on love and abundance. The great ones are playing to win, and winning to them simply means learning and growing. They literally transcend the addiction to feeling superior to anyone else and for being afraid to lose what they have. Their dominant thoughts on their vision are on their vision for the future, and they pursue it fearlessly. This is what Ed is talking about. He said the thing that gets you away from your fear, these fears that we hold on to. One, you got to identify what you're holding on to, what fears are actively running your life. But the way we get away from it, Ed said, is that God-sized dream. That God-sized dream that we constantly are feeding ourselves. So like it says here, the world class transcends the lower vibration, the fear talk, the scarcity talk, low vibration thoughts, by focusing their thoughts, language, and mental picture on love and abundance, the God-sized dream, the abundance, the joy, the peace, the happiness, what it will feel like to achieve what you want to achieve, the fulfillment that you have, the love and abundance part of life. Focusing their thoughts first and foremost. Again, you know the thesis of the cause. If you change your thinking, you change your life. If you think the same way that you did 10 years ago, you will have the same things that you had. Once you change how you think, then your life can change. Just like Ed said, how do we change our thinking? We got to ask ourselves some better questions. We got to get more into spending some time with ourselves. What I say, how you change your thinking, you got to change what you're consuming. You got to change what you're putting in. Your thoughts come from things that are coming into your mind. That's why scripturally it says we can take every thought into captivity because it's not actually you. It's like it's coming from a place. You can actually grab the thought and be like, oh, no, no, that thought doesn't serve me and throw it away. But that's not normally how we operate if we're not aware that we can do that. We take all these thoughts and then we let these thoughts play out to whatever now we're doing in life. So once we see we want life to change, we just got to go back to the root, which is catching the thought and placing that thought on things that are beyond where we are right now, on the things we want, on the God-sized dream, on the thing you're scared to tell people. You're scared to tell small-minded people, right? I sit down with a lot of people and sometimes they don't know that I'm right the biggest dreamer. I think so if we're just meeting for the first time and I ask them about their goals or their dreams or what they want, they don't share it with me because they're like, I don't talk about my dreams. It's just because they've talked about it with smaller minded people that maybe discourage them or told them that it's not going to work or they think it's going to jinx them or whatever the case is. But when you share your God-sized dreams with people that also have God-sized dreams, that also think big, we will encourage that dream. And once it's out, that's when it actually starts to manifest. When you actually give it to the world, when you put it out, when you think about it, when you talk about it, that's then how you get there. But it starts with your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Always remember, it starts with your thoughts. Then it says here, focusing your language on the love and abundance. So are you watching what you're saying out of your mouth? Life and death is in the what? Power of the tongue. It's the rudder to our ship. So how are you speaking? Are you speaking fear and scarcity? Are you speaking love and abundance? This is how we change it. Again, not always easy, y'all, but it's right. It's the thing that you have to pay attention to if you want to go off and design your ideal life. If you want to go off and have a life you don't need a break from, then this is what you have to do. Starts with your thinking, then it changes your language, how you speak. You don't speak negativity over your life. You don't speak ill, like you don't speak those things. You change your language to speak things of love and abundance. And then your mental picture, focusing your mental on your God-sized dream. This is how you do it. This is, again, life is a game of millimeters. It's just small little tweaks that you make over time. Some people choose to not make these tweaks at all. They just take life as it comes and kind of spiral out after a certain period of time. That's why most people are not successful in life, not just financially successful. I mean, like emotionally healthy, right? Mentally tough, good peace, joy, happiness, fruits of the spirit, like whatever it is, what you classify success as. Most people don't get that. Most people don't get it because they don't make these little shifts. That's why I'm encouraging you to do this. I'm encouraging you to vibrate at on a higher frequency by changing what you are thinking about, by changing your language, changing the mental pictures that you have to the things that are beyond, to the things that you actually want. That's how we play, like it says, play to win. Don't play not to lose. It's a completely different strategy if you're just playing not to lose. But if you're playing to win the game, if you're trying to design your ideal life, you want to get to the life that you don't need a break from, you want to become the man or woman God actually called you to be, then these are the things you got to pay attention to. It says here, the great ones are playing to win, and winning to them simply means learning and growing. How much are you learning? How much are you growing? How much are you taking time to say, these are the things that I want? I'm going to move away. I'm going to move away from the fear and scarcity stuff that plagues all of us. Those 6 fears, they plague all of us. But I'm going to move away from that side and I'm going to program my mind to think about the love and abundance, to think about the things that are beyond me that I want to make happen. That becomes your dominant thoughts. And then, just like Ed said, right, your mind moves towards the things you're most familiar with. If the things you're most familiar with are your goals and dreams, if that's what's most familiar, it's not foreign to you, You're not always trying to figure out, I don't really know what I want. I don't really know what I want. I don't really know what 10 years looks like. I don't really know what 20, like, I don't know. Then more than likely, your mind is running off of fear and scarcity because that's how most of us are programmed in this world. So you have to now make your dominant thoughts, the dominant things you think about, your future vision, your future self. What will it feel like to accomplish the things you want to accomplish? What will it feel like? Because that's what we're all looking for. You're looking for an emotion. You've heard me say this before. You're not you don't want the $1 million. You want what the $1 million will feel like. You think the million will give you some peace, some security, something that where you don't have to worry about things that you've been worrying about. That's what you think the money will do for you. It's the feeling you're after. So, how will it feel when you achieve those things? These are the better questions to start to ask yourself, just like Ed said. The action step for today says, ask these critical thinking questions. Am I more motivated by my fear of failure or by the excitement of my vision? Am I more motivated by these fears, these 6 fears, or am I more excited, am I more motivated by the excitement of my vision? Ask yourself that question. Albert Einstein quote up here says, everyone has 2 choices. We're either full of love or full of fear. I'm going to challenge each and every one of you today on this Monday to start your Monday, start your week off asking yourself better questions of how do we design our ideal life? How do we get to the life we don't need a break from? More importantly, how do you become the man or woman God actually called you to be? It's by changing your thinking so your life can change. I love you guys. I want y'all to win. You deserve to win. Your families deserve it. Again, if no one tells you, I will always tell you that because you do. The dreams you have in your mind, just like Ed said, they come from God. Like, how'd you get these thoughts? How'd you get these visions? How'd you get these dreams of what you want? That means you deserve it because God wants you to have it. It's just, you got to do some work. It's not just going to give it all to you. You got to become the man or woman that can have those things, that has the capacity to handle those things. But you can do it. I'm here in your corner. Go out there, make it happen. Do something that scares you today. We'll be back here on Wednesday for another one. Take care, y'all.